the world's become so distorted and focusing on calories only. Like it's all about calories. Were they getting their phone out and tracking MyFitnessPal and going, "Oh, I'm having 2,000 calories today. Like, oh, I've hit my macros now. I shouldn't eat anymore."
Yeah,
And it's
technology
just,
told me to stop, so I need to listen to this man-made device, right?
yeah.
It's just
Well,
nuts,
that's the
absolutely
thing.
nuts.
Just meat. I've gone, that's it. Like, no carbs. I was still in that camp. I was like, no carbs. Those are the people that I take the advice from because they're winners in life. They're happy. I've never seen someone who trolls anybody who's a winner. How we doing, bud? You all right?
Yeah, really good, mate. Yeah, it was great meeting you at the Carnivore conference.
Yeah.
I'm glad you approached me on the last day because I thought we weren't going to get much of a chance to speak.
Yeah, it was great to meet you first, mate. Obviously, incredible speech as well. You did
Appreciate that.
brilliantly. It was very eye-opening and informative and educational.
Perhaps if you could just give us a brief intro, how you discovered carnivore. Did you go carnivore right away when you first heard of it, or how did that all come about?
I've always been interested in trying to optimize my own health. Over the years, I've tried many different things. The food you put in your body, I fundamentally believe will dictate, the health and how you feel and how you look. So probably like going into my mid-20s, started moving towards more whole foods, but decided to stop the meat, thinking I was optimizing my health and doing the best I can. So did a bit of research, and obviously back then it was kind of like carnivore wasn't really known as much. I used to have like one steak a week, and that was like a treat.
Yeah, yeah.
One steak on a Friday, I used to play football on a Friday night. I used to come back and like have a steak because it was still seen as like, a bit like, oh, you shouldn't eat too much of it. I remember seeing a documentary called Cowspiracy. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably maybe like 2016. It was kind of when this plant-based movement push was starting to take effect a little bit. It was green is healthy and
Yeah,
plants are healthy and stuff. So
I fell for
as
that.
you do, I like to experiment, do my research. So I tried it, and I ended up not eating meat for a while, for a good few years. I
Mm.
kind of, I did eat a lot of fish and eggs, so I was still maintaining, a decent level of health. I still felt pretty healthy. Going in towards 2019, 2020, I actually decided to go a full year plant based. And again, it was like another experiment I wanted to do because I do love to try things out. And I tried it and I did it for over a year. And that was when I really started to notice my health deteriorate because all the other things I've done, every time I've eaten, different diets, I still felt okay, pretty good. The
Yeah,
best I felt is without doubt on carnivore, like hence why I do it now
yeah,
and
yeah.
promote it so much. But
So
like,
things changed.
exactly, yeah. So even though I was eating whole foods, I mean, the thing we always talk about is, if we're coaching people or giving people advice, like the first thing you can do is cut out the processed foods and all the other crap. That's the first thing you can do. Whether you want to go full carnivore is up to you. We're not telling people to do it, even though a lot of people think we are. Like
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
not.
I agree.
Um, but I think that was when I started to notice over time, like in the beginning, you kind of feel okay. But over time, I started to notice I was having like all sorts of skin problems and digestive issues. As obviously, you spoke about in your talk, and obviously the main point of your channel talking about how the gut impacts the whole body and stuff like that. And it was just causing me so many issues and putting plants and fibrous material and things we can't digest. The body can't fully digest fiber, as Lee very well knows. But this is the thing: when you're loading the body up with so much cellulose, pretty much, and so much of this plant material, it just for me it completely ruined my gut. And it's just amazing when you go from that to like a more carnivore approach, the difference you notice, as we were talking about the other day, the difference you notice when you're really in tune with your body,
Mm.
you notice a huge thing. So, I mean, after just over a year, my body was like craving red meat. I mean, like I just knew. And to be honest, mate, I was doing a lot of research into the benefits of red meat and listening to guys like Sean Baker and stuff. And Joe Rogan was obviously he did the full carnivore for a month. So one day I remember it was like an Easter Sunday. Obviously, being a Brit, it was like my mum made this big. I went round to hers and she made this big Easter roast,
Mm.
Sunday roast, and I just didn't even think about it. I was just straight in. It's funny. My body was just craving the food, the nutrients. It's amazing when you get more in tune with your body, how much your body knows what it wants. It kind of guides you in the way. And when you're not eating processed food, like because that will block all that feedback, it'll completely block the feedback. So obviously the gut brain connection is huge, and I'm big onto that. I believe that a lot of inflammatory diseases start in the gut, And especially with the mindset, mental, physical. That's why a lot of people who are on a plant-based diet have a lot of mental problems. They really struggle, because you're not getting the essential nutrients, the carnitine, the B vitamins that you need for proper brain function, the bioavailable nutrients, the omega-3s. So, yeah, I mean, from there, it was back to red meat, still whole foods. Wasn't plenty of carbs. I was doing I transitioned into more one meal a days, like 2 steaks, eggs, some potatoes, and some fermented vegetables I used to go for. So I used to go for like sauerkraut and stuff. And after a while, maybe a year and a half of doing that, probably, I'd seen loads of things about the carnivore diet. And I'd always thought to myself, and I've said this before on podcasts and to other people, I've said, just meat. I've gone, that's it. Like, no carbs. I was still in that camp. I was like, no carbs, zero. I was like, that still didn't feel right to me a little bit. At the start, I was like, surely you need some carbs. But I thought, you know what? I'll try it. So in January 2023, I went full carnivore. Never felt better. After that month, and you'll probably attest to it when you first start, it does take a while. It can take a bit for your body to adapt. It doesn't happen
Yeah.
right away.
No, it took me a couple of weeks to feel right.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So I tried it and it made sense as well to me. It was like, it's what we're designed to eat, from our gut bacteria, everything, the pH of the stomach, our intestines, like we're designed to eat this stuff. And I felt great. It was like eating a meal and having no acid reflux from when I was like more plant-based was like a big thing. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, like it actually feels great to digest a meal and not have any pain, not have any bloating or any acid reflux coming up. So
Something's wrong with me. I feel good. What? It's crazy, isn't it?
like,
Like
mate, it's like
eating red meat, it just works. But no, it can't be right. I feel great, but it can't be right.
exactly, yeah. And I think that's probably maybe what we'll go over in this is like, if you eat red meat but you feel amazing, there's still always someone that's like, oh, but you don't want to do that, forever. You surely need some other things, not just red meat. And I get it, because some people are a bit confused. They're like, I feel so good, but then why do I have to stop?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, but I just never stopped. Started talking about it as you did as well, and how powerful red meat can be and what it can do for people, how it can heal people from autoimmune disease, all the chronic diseases we talk about. And I believe there's a massive problem in the world today in terms of the information we receive. I don't believe that mainstream health experts have your best interest at heart. I think they're money based. It's like a spider's web. They all work together. It's like, the pharmaceutical industry works with the healthcare industry, works with the food industry. It's all big food, big pharma, whatever you want to call it. Of course, we get called tinfoil hat wearers for saying that, but that's what I fully believe. So I believe going back to basics from the start and healing yourself first with red meat only, and then doing what you need to do. You can obviously modify it. You can do, just red meat. You can do red meat and eggs. You can do a bit of milk if you want. Some people do some fruit and honey. I'm more in the camp of
At your
going.
own risk.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more in the camp of going more red meat. I prefer just red meat and eggs. I have done experiments with obviously the honey and the fruit. I've actually just taken both of those out now, because I was just doing the honey again. But the reason why I like to do these experiments is to find out more about myself. I just feel my best when I'm on full carnivore, and like when I'm on very low carb, I just feel the best I feel. So,
I was going to say, if you were still doing the experiment, you would have had to have brought your own fruit or something.
oh no.
Honey
Oh
with
yeah, I
you.
would. Well, yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, there was a little bit of edge on, wasn't there, for people? Like,
Yeah,
obviously, I
that's
wasn't
right.
going to
Yeah,
veg,
yeah.
but that's the thing. At the conference, we weren't discriminating people. We weren't having
No, of course.
people were having coffee. This is what I want to get through, because I believe in this community so much that we're growing as well and that we're building. All of us are playing a role. Is that we're not trying to be dogmatic in our thinking. We're not trying to say to people, you have to do carnivore because it's the absolute be all and end all only way. We're all welcoming people to come and learn. So I'm sure there was people there who were not carnivore, and there was, because I spoke to them. They weren't carnivore. They were just learning. They were just wanting to
Yeah.
learn more about it and listening to speakers like yourself and guys like Richard Smith and Ben Hunt and Dr. Abs and Stephen and all these guys. And it's like, we want to find out and search for optimal health. Your story personally was absolutely brilliant. I thought your speech was excellent, because it's like you've gone through the run of the mill. I mean, one of the hardest things you can go through in terms of finding out what works for you. And most people wouldn't have to go through that. That's the thing. So in terms of a case study, I think you're one of the best personally to learn from.
It's unusual, isn't it? Because of the outcome of my surgery gave me this new lens that most people don't get to sort of peer through. And I'm not recommending it, but at least I can talk about it. And actually, I've found a lot of people do find that quite helpful. Because at first it was difficult to talk about. I didn't think I'd ever have a channel, and me talking about poop. It's just like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? But just from that event, I had so many people come up to me and say, thank you for sharing this, and you're the reason why, and it's just amazing. So for me,
Absolutely.
I couldn't even go back and change things, because I actually feel like I'm on a better path, given my struggles. It's like I'm fine with that. I'm clear in my head now, and I'm kind of grateful. I feel like I'm living a more meaningful life because of it. So,
Mm.
what was your favorite food anyway when we were at the conference?
Oh, there was some good stuff, wasn't there?
Yeah, yeah,
There was some top
good
stuff. I
variety.
think. Oh yeah, it's brilliant. I think that I really enjoyed I like the ox tongue. That was
Mm,
good.
mm,
I
yeah, yeah,
really enjoyed that. The oxtail soup, that was nice because I
that's
like
nice.
trying
Yeah,
different things. But actually, I think probably the best was the beef heart and the lamb's heart. I thought
right.
that was awesome.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
Did you try that?
yeah. It's not strong. Like it's not. It's
No,
not like other organ meats, is it? That the heart's
no.
really nice, and the lamb's heart was really, really nice.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It's more like it was like a steak. Like I think
Yeah,
liver is like obviously it's a lot different. The flavor of it is a little bit in your
can be
face,
strong. Yeah, yeah,
very strong. So heart's just a lot more subtle. A random person, normal person who just ate some heart, I don't think they would think, "Oh right, that's awful." I think they'd probably think, "Oh, it just tastes like a little bit of steak or something." They're not really thinking about it. So to be honest, mate, all of it was good. Sometimes people say carnivore can be restrictive. I'm like, I don't think that at all. I think that carnivore is like, I just can't wait to eat my meals every day. I
mm,
just like, I don't know
yeah.
about you, but I'm the
I'm the
same.
same.
Oh mate, I can't wait to eat like lamb chops and beef and ribeyes and and eggs with butter. Like for me, it's just like it's the best way to eat without a doubt, and it's the most satisfying way to eat because when you do eat, you're satiated and you're
Yeah,
full.
yeah,
The world's become so distorted and focusing on calories only. Like it's all about calories and that's it. And I think that's such just a strange thing to think if you think about how we've always been, and what we've always eaten like. Do you think that people back in the day, even people going back to the 50s and 60s when a lot more people were slimmer and healthier, were they getting their phone out and tracking MyFitnessPal and going, "Oh, I'm having 2,000 calories today. Like, oh, I've hit my macros now. I shouldn't eat anymore, even though I'm
yeah,
starving." It's like, "Oh, I
yeah.
shouldn't eat anymore."
Yeah,
And it's just
technology told me to stop, so I need to listen to this man-made device, right?
yeah.
It's just
Well,
nuts,
that's the thing.
absolutely nuts.
And they have to read something on the back of a packet, which we've already seen can be like 30-40% wrong anyway.
I do always mention nature, and you'll always get this, "Oh, appeal to nature fallacy." I think the important thing about nature is that it's natural, and nature doesn't make mistakes, but humans make mistakes all the time. And
Mm.
actually now we're in a situation where we have people that make errors. They're very, very flawed, making the food, thinking that they're smart, and it's very clever what they can do, but we're going against nature. So then we're going against natural, even the plants. We wouldn't have eaten half of them, because when you find them in nature, they're not like these lovely, colourful, big, large, sweet, delicious treats. They're quite
Yeah,
bitter. They're quite poisonous, and we would have left that alone. So
without a
it's
doubt. Yeah,
crazy,
yeah.
but I get this nature fallacy all the time, and I think you can stick fallacy on the end of things. It doesn't make it so. I'm not just appealing to nature. I'm talking about what we are designed in terms of our physiology and our biology to accommodate in the body. You can't just put anything in the body. It doesn't work. You
No,
give animals certain plants they would never eat, they get sick. And that's actually what we do to fatten up the meat, essentially. We're giving them the corn and the grain and stuff.
brains. Yeah,
And now
yeah.
they're getting all this intramuscular fats going on. They're metabolically sick, but they taste great and all this. So I think it's
Exactly. Yeah.
about sticking to nature, because all of this progress, it looks like regress. You think
Mhm.
about, I even would argue, and I'm not saying I don't want a nice house and lights and a bed and a blanket and stuff like this, the heating, it's all
Mm.
lovely. But really, we invented the wheel, we got lazier. I think we invented the light bulb, and now our bodies don't know when it's nighttime. And it
Yeah,
just kind of spiraled from there. And I think there's certain things, of course, I'm not going to say I want to go back and live in the cold and
yeah,
just be like completely natural. That's not really what
yeah.
I'm saying, but I think we can be mindful of what's natural. Like, oh, I've spent actually almost all day inside. I should probably get outside, get some fresh air, get some
Exactly.
sun. Get my eyes stimulated with the light, perhaps.
Mhm.
Um, let my body know what time it really is, and when the sun goes down, you stick the blue blockers on, because it's great. I quite like to watch some Netflix or YouTube or whatever,
Yeah,
but the sun's down now, so I'll stick my blue blockers on and that kind of thing.
exactly. Yeah.
Do you kind of branch out a little bit with your health in terms of lifestyle hacks and other things other than diet
Yeah,
when you get up?
absolutely. Yeah, I do wear the blue light blockers. I do like them. I feel like they're just good because, especially now, obviously it's going darker in England now a bit. Just to put them on and just let the eyes rest a bit.
Yeah,
So, I mean, you lose it a bit in terms of like you think, oh, I've looked at my phone for a long time. You know, when the screen time thing is over, it tells you how long you've been on your screen for. You're like, fuck, that's quite a long time. But I mean, it's the modern world we live in. I'm also willing to embrace, be more modern as well. But I 100% agree with you that I do practice certain things. Like I like to go outside, even if it's cold. I mean, even if
yeah,
it's raining, because as well as you know, Lee, in the UK, you can never rely on the weather. It's a nice day today. I will be going out later on, getting some sun, getting some steps in, just being out in fresh air and nature. It makes such a huge difference. Like you always feel better after you've been for a walk outside. You just always do. Like I've never come back from a walk and gone, I really regret that walk. Or
yeah,
it's the same
yeah,
thing, and we're training too. I absolutely love training. I've been training since I was 16 properly, and so I've always loved the benefits of training, how I feel, how it makes me feel. All these small things are like just pieces of the puzzle just to add in. But if you're following and practicing what I believe is optimizing your diet first through like a carnivore approach, more red meat, more whole foods, you're instantly going to feel better anyway. Your body composition is without doubt going to get better. You're mentally going to be so much more clear. And then if you can add these extra things in, like going for walks outside, like training, like, getting your steps in, like wearing your blue light blockers at night and not looking at your phone so much, because I know the social media world now is very hard not to look at it because it can get you, especially with the algorithm for people, and get you addicted, just like the food industry. I mean, there's people out there who are paid to keep people addicted to apps and
yeah,
food.
yeah,
And I get it because it's all money involved. It's money driven. And I understand it's a business. So
yeah. It's a,
if the big bosses are saying you're not doing your job, even if they know it, even if the person knows it's wrong, really, they're still going to go, well, I don't want to get sacked. So I need to keep doing my job. So, but the main thing first is the big thing, which is your diet and what you eat. That is without doubt the most important thing you can ever do in your life is optimize your nutrition. And aside all the other things, that's the most important thing because you've probably seen it as well, Lee. Like so many people have gone carnivore and they find that they don't have to do much activity. It's weird.
even
Like,
people on night shifts. So you've got obviously certain people that talk about lights the be all and end all, and I don't deny that there's a lot of truth to that. You know, it controls everything, right?
yeah,
But I do think that in modernity, despite what you do, where you're coming from, I think if you don't fix your diet, it's kind of like good luck with that. I mean, I genuinely know lots of people on a night shift. They've had so many health issues. They go carnivore, and about 3 months down the line, all of their markers are great. All of their problems are pretty much either gone or vastly improved. Yet they still don't have proper circadian rhythm. So that to me tells you that diet's got to be sitting right at the top of that hierarchy in terms of
exactly.
applications for health. Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
yeah, definitely.
Because if you're working a night shift, it's just complete. I mean, you are throwing nature and out the window because like we're not supposed to be asleep during the day.
Yeah, it's
That's the
nuts. It's
whole.
nuts.
That's the thing.
I would say light is probably second. That's just me.
Yeah.
In terms of my routine, I think many of my subscribers know I get up sort of around sunrise. Sometimes I feel a little bit guilty if I miss it,
Hmm.
and I never feel as good. So typically, like these days, I'm getting up around about 5:30. I can catch the sunrise kind of thing and get that initial AM light. And
So
for
am I.
me,
That's what
yeah,
I do.
it's lovely. Yeah, that's what I do. Shoes and socks off. I embrace the cold, boxers and a t-shirt on, go straight
Mhm.
outside like that, feet on the ground, and just sort of look towards the east. And there's something about that. It's a real natural dopamine hit. And after about
Mm.
10, 15 minutes, I don't know about you, but I genuinely start to feel really, really good. Just
Mm.
the energy, my mood. And then you kind of lose yourself for about 15, 20 minutes. And then I go back inside and then I don't feel too guilty about just having a look at my phone quick, check your email, check this, check that, get ready, get out there. I'm back outside again, obviously cleaning windows. What we were talking about with the business model and things like that. And obviously a lot of people think, oh, conspiracy, conspiracy. If somebody came up with a design, right, or a way to clean a window once,
Mhm.
I mean, that would be game over for me. I'd lose my job. And so
Exactly.
this is why we this is why it is that way. It's like if we make you better, if we ameliorate all your problems and we tell you, well, look, all you need to do is just eat food and this is what food is, then I'm probably not going to see you ever again, kind of thing.
But the thing is that like everyone is like looking for the easiest shortcut, but they're realizing that nothing worth having comes easy. So like if you want a great physique, you have to work for it. If you want to be healthy, you have to work for it. And, and not, I wouldn't, it's not paying the price, but it's like you have to be willing to sacrifice in order to have optimal
Yeah.
health. And I'd argue that repetition is so key and it's vital. And doing the same things constantly every day is vital for, success. The most successful people in their body, in their relationships, in their mind, they all do the same things pretty much all the time. They're not scattered everywhere. They're not like, one day they're doing this, one time they're getting up at 10 a.m., another day they're getting up at 6 a.m. They're hardly doing that. One day they're eating, cereal, next minute they're eating steak. The options and the availability that people have nowadays for things like fat loss, they just get sold an absolute dream. Take Ozempic, for example, a complete and utter con. They're shutting down natural hormonal functions in your body, stopping satiety signals and leptin and ghrelin, which are vital. You need these things to be working properly in order to know when you're full, satiated, and you get that from eating proper food. So what these drugs are doing, they're basically just starving you. The body thinks we're good now, like we don't need to eat, but really it's never going to work long term. Yeah, you might lose weight in the short term. It's like if you don't eat for a week, you'll lose weight. And your ability to burn fat is completely null and void because when your cortisol's jacked up super high, that's when you don't have the ability to burn body fat. This is what these crash diets are about. They're usually done by people who just want to get in shape for a holiday. But this is the thing, that someone would go on the holiday and then they'd end up binging on the first day of the all-inclusive, put all the weight back on because they haven't, their body is not being in tune to what they're doing and the body's been in a stressful state. And I've done videos on this in the past when I've been away and stuff and showed what I've done. Like my body isn't craving because I'm not crash dieting. I'm not counting calories every day. I'm not doing that stuff. I'm eating in abundance and eating to satiety every day. And I'm feeling great doing it. And I have plenty of energy and I'm lean, strong and fit. But I don't get any cravings. I don't ever crave any sugar or any, chocolate or sweets or processed food. Honestly, if I never ate that stuff ever again, I'd be more than happy.
How was your experience when you did your experiment with honey and fruit? Did that trigger cravings?
No.
Did that get that ball rock? No? Oh, right. Okay,
No, I actually didn't. And I've met so many people through my coaching and stuff, going through Carnivore, who've said they've tried to do moderate stuff sometimes, and it's just set them back massively. Like they've tried a little bit of the honey, they've tried a little bit of the fruit, and it's just one piece of fruit's turned into 2 to 3 to 4. The next thing you know, they're eating 150 to 300 grams of carbs a day, and their glucose is out of control, their insulin's out of control, and it throws everything off.
Now you're talking about a surfer, aren't you?
I'm actually not, but I'm just saying, that is an interesting thing to cover. I mean, obviously you're talking about Paul Saladino, but I do find it quite interesting how he moved away from carnivore, and maybe it was a few tweaks he could have made here and there. I've heard some people saying he was eating an abnormal amount of offal and liver, which could have contributed to, how he was feeling. I think that a bit of liver, we were talking about, having at the conference, liver is so nutrient dense that you only need a couple of ounces a week, max, probably. That's all you need. And I think when you're starting to do a lot of liver each day, that's when you could run into problems. If he feels great, then that's up to him. But I mean, I just know personally that having tried my fruit honey experiment, I just noticed a bit more inflammation, like a little bit in my joints, and I noticed like a little bit of a skin irritation come up, a little bit of eczema again. I noticed that just flared up, and I was like, that's really interesting. And it happened straight away. Literally, the minute I put sugar back into my diet, I found it quite interesting how it just happened straight away. But in terms of cravings, it didn't set any cravings off for me. I was only doing small amounts. I was doing like one piece of fruit a day and like a spoonful of honey. So it wasn't like 3 spoonfuls and 5 pieces of fruit. And then I got to the point where I was just like, you know what? I'm going back to full carnivore because I just feel way better. The reason I do carnivore is because I just feel my best. Like, I'm not a zealot, despite what a lot of people think, and maybe I come across that way. But I believe in this lifestyle so much because I feel so good. Like the reason I do this stuff, because I eat like meat and eggs predominantly red meat, is because it makes me feel my best. I'm super sharp, and I noticed that the difference between like cutting the carbs back down again. I just feel so much more mentally sharp, and like my mood's better overall. I'm not having like these insulin spikes and crashes, because it does have an impact. I've noticed, like on your mood. You just feel a bit more irritated. You feel a bit more ratty. Like things annoy you a bit more. And yeah, when I'm on carnivore, just eating, very low carb to no carb, because as you know, because the body doesn't require any carbohydrates, and it doesn't, like, it's just a scientific fact. We make our own glucose through gluconeogenesis. We only need protein and fats, or else we'll die. That's why they're called essential. But I mean, I think when you don't eat enough on carnivore, that's when people can really struggle. Red meat, as you know, mate, and butter and eggs are very calorie. They're high in calories, aren't they? They're very high in calories. If you eat 2,500 calories of steak compared to your normal balanced diet, it's going to feel different. But I think people sometimes can't get their head around that. They can't comprehend, because I've done experiments on it before, and other carnivores in the space have done it too, where we've worked out how many calories we're eating in a day, and I've eaten like probably 1,000 or 1,500 more calories, and I've looked leaner. But that blows people's minds. They can't get their head around that. They're just like, no, it's all dictated by calories and how much you eat.
Have you seen Eddie Hall recently? Sorry, mate.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
have.
he said exactly the same. Even towards the end of his last video, he was saying, I can eat as much of this stuff as I want, and I'm not gaining weight. In fact, I've lost weight. I've leaned
Yeah,
down. My strength is through the roof. My energy's great. I feel great,
yeah,
And
exactly.
so, I mean, and he's one of these guys that I know for a fact would have counted calories, because
Totally.
he
Yeah.
he wants to get that volume, that mass in, the food in, the
Hmm.
energy, to the right raw materials, enough of them to build muscle, to maintain strength, and actually go forward with things. But even he's sat down and he's eaten to satiety, steaks, eggs.
Mm.
Obviously, he's chowing down on quite a bit of dairy. That's
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that I
he's
wouldn't be
getting that in,
careful with. But
definitely.
yeah, but
The
if
Jersey milk.
even
He was going hard on the Jersey milk, wasn't
yeah,
he?
yeah, yeah. I think he was saying, like, what was it, 25 grams of carbs at least on every meal or something like that from dairy alone.
That is enough to make a little difference, especially if you're carb sensitive. That's enough to make a difference.
Yeah,
Um,
and to trigger as well for some people, because if they've gone strict carnivore for a bit and then they introduce milk, they think, oh my goodness, that's so sweet. And for most people, it won't taste that sweet. But when you're on a
mm,
carnivore diet, it's like the sweetest thing on the planet.
that was lovely.
Yeah, it tastes great. I was using it here and there as a tool to gain weight strategically, but if you're that way inclined,
Mm.
be careful. Don't buy too much. Perhaps
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know how you do it really. If you've got to travel
It's
far, maybe stick all but what you want to drink in the freezer, so you can't just drink it.
Yeah, true. I did find it interesting how Phil Ascott was talking about those two doctors. That one was saying that there's an argument to be made that raw is actually worse than pasteurized, which I thought was quite interesting, actually.
I suppose we've got these autoimmune sufferers, and dairy for autoimmune sufferers can be a real trigger, and it's the casein protein. Obviously, we
Exactly.
can't
Yeah.
digest that, and that can cause a trigger. And then we've got this olulin, and then all the
Hmm.
immunological responses that follow. But I think if you have an autoimmune disease, but you have pastoral genes, maybe you're actually immune to that problematic casein protein, and so actually you just need to get rid of all the plants. But I think certain individuals that haven't had that kind of exposure with the ancestry to dairy, they don't really require it. They've got
Mm.
autoimmune issues. They actually need to just cut out all dairy, all plants. That way, you're allowing your gut to heal, kind of thing. A lion diet, really. And
Hmm.
with Sophia Clemens' work, from Hungary, Paleo Medicina, she's got some great results, and she seems to
Yeah.
really believe that even ghee, just being that 0.1%,
Point
can
naught naught
actually
one.
play,
Yeah.
yeah, for certain individuals. And so I think obviously that's where there's nuance. We're all on this spectrum of a natural human diet, but it's like, well, where do you sit?
Yeah.
And there are different versions. And I think obviously we learned that Heather that was up there, great
Yeah.
talk. She does very,
Brilliant
very
talk.
well on fish, and she needs copious amounts of DHA just to function, just to feel right.
Crazy amounts.
It's incredible, right? That
Yeah.
blew me away.
I mean, that's
Um,
obviously for everyone who's listening. Like, I mean, Heather Foley was speaking, and she was saying that it was something like at one point she was having about 25 grams
mm,
of omega-3s a day, or something like, wasn't it? It
27, I
was
think it's something like that. Yeah,
27 grams of omega-3. That's like
yeah.
an insane amount of, omega-3 and DHA. But because of her background, because of the trauma that she had, I mean,
Mm,
she was overdosing omega-3s, but she said it was working. It was making her feel
yeah,
fantastic. So, I
yeah.
mean, this is the thing, like, you have to be able to understand where you're at, because, like, this is a massive part, because everyone's on their own journey. Like what me and you can do is someone who's suffering more, wouldn't be able to do. It's
Yeah.
the thing, because people that can just drink milk and have butter and have dairy and they feel fine. But then you have some people who even a slither of butter will set something off,
Yeah.
and they just won't feel as good. And I personally know, but I think that even though we are all different, we are a lot the same. Just eating red meat, I find that because it's the most low inflammatory food, and like it's impossible almost to be allergic to red meat. Like I think there's like maybe I remember reading somewhere that was like, oh, it was like this genetic mutation or something out there, but it's like how rare it is like 0.001% of the world population that like might be allergic to red meat. It's like, have you heard of that?
Is it the Lone Star tick?
Something like,
That
yeah,
what
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
they get
That's
bitten
it,
by a
yeah.
Lone Star tick, and that
Yeah.
genetically changes their ability to even accommodate red meat in the system. That's extremely rare, and it's just like the exception to the rule, and so
That'd be the worst
those
thing ever.
obviously those in yeah, oh man, yeah, I
I
can't
might have been
imagine.
allergic to red meat, the best food
Oh,
ever. It'd be, oh my God, it'd
yeah,
be
well,
brilliant.
now for us now, it would just be like a nightmare scenario. I don't know
It'd
what
just
those
be
people
salmon.
would eat, I
It'd
suppose.
just be sardines and
Exactly.
salmon. That's all, and eggs. That's all it'd be then.
Yeah, which is a great diet, I think
Yeah,
salmon, wild salmon, and,
yeah.
like you said, mackerel, yeah,
Anchovies,
egg
sardines.
yolks,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
maybe just hopefully you can do well on some sort of dairy or something.
But that's what I was eating before. I was eating a lot of meat. So I used to eat loads of fish. I'm always going to choose red meat over fish any day of the week.
Me
And
too.
maybe on occasion I'll have some salmon. I'll make sure it's wild caught. But I mean, for me, beef and lamb are always going to be the king. I'm sure you heard obviously Richard talk about it, how he really is a big lamb advocate now. And there's an argument to be made that actually lamb is better than beef.
I would
In
say it
terms
is,
of it,
yeah,
I think it probably
yeah,
is. I mean, in terms of its nutrient profile, and it has 10 times more omega 3s, which a lot of people don't realize. So that's why I now have shifted more. I mean, I still eat a lot of beef, but I tend to do now like just over a pound of beef and also over a pound of lamb a day. So if I'm eating
mm,
over a kilo of meat, I mean, half of that will be from lamb now, and with eggs as well. Those lamb burgers at the conference,
right.
beautiful.
Ground lamb and beef mixed together. I don't know if you've tried that. That's really,
Yeah,
really nice. In the
yeah.
beginning, I was adding some Greek yogurt to that as well, just a little bit of Greek yogurt.
Oh yeah.
Amazing. Really, really nice.
Good
Yeah.
combination, man. I
Yeah, yeah.
think I do make some lamb burgers with some nice some Celtic sea salt or some Maldens
Mm,
on there, and
mm.
they're beautiful. And the thing is, as well, I was gonna ask you this: you see a lot of people on social media now eating their meat raw. A lot of people are like, "Oh, how could you eat meat raw?" Like literally just eating raw meat. And it's so funny because people are like still a bit like, "Oh, I'm not too sure about that." But the more meat that I've been eating over the years, like I'm going even on my burgers now and the ground beef, I'm going more rare and raw on that. Like I ate like those lamb burgers the other day. They were just completely raw in the middle. Obviously they were cooked on the outside, seared,
Mm,
but in the middle they were like completely raw.
mm.
And I felt absolutely fine. You would never cook like a steak well done because you need to be put in prison.
I'd
But
cry.
like that's what I mean, yeah. But like even medium as opposed to rare, for me, I'd always go for the rare over
Yeah.
the medium.
It's more enjoyable. I think I do like that juicier taste, just more nutrients, that juice as well. It would be such a shame to dry out the
Yeah.
meat. I'd rather just have jerky.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Did you try that jerky as well in the
Oh
goodie
mate.
bag? Was that the best
Mason's
jerky
meat.
you've ever had in your life?
The best. I mean, like it was incredible. Like
Yeah.
that wagyu rib cap was absolutely incredible. Like I've tried some, obviously, like carnivore crisps are also tremendous. They're really
Mm,
good. Um, but that from obviously Michael Mason from his company Mason's Meats, oh, absolutely
incredible.
incredible. I was like,
Yeah.
well, he's gonna send me out a little batch. I was messaging him on Instagram, but it was cool to meet him because obviously I've seen him before as well and
Right.
he's got a big presence too. And he's just a little tank, and he just like it's just funny.
Yeah.
60
Yeah.
years old, and he's just absolutely smashing it. And but yeah, he's that was just incredible. That absolutely amazing.
I'd never tried it, and so as soon as I took it out of the bag, I instantly just looking at it, it's like, "Oh my goodness, all that
Oh
fat."
mate,
Like, when do
that's
you
what I
see
was
fat
like.
on jerky? And it was just salt and beef and,
You never, yeah.
juicy. Somehow
Oh, the taste
juicy
of
and
it.
dry and just
Oh
everything at the
mate,
same time. Yeah,
oh mate, you
I'll
make
give
me
my
want
partner
to just
Lucy some. She was straight on the website having a look at the prices.
oh mate, it's incredible.
So I was gonna ask you about your coaching. Take
Yeah.
us through your coaching. What do you do typically there?
Me and my brother that you met, James. So we started obviously this business together. So we both worked together on the content and the marketing side. So and then we created the products, a 4-week plan which helps people get into carnivore. Just like start and have basic meal plans and just a massive guide basically as to how to start. And obviously we've got the cookbook, which is a really good seller, does really well. I mean, obviously, because I do a lot of recipes on my channel, I show different, different ways. Because we thought, going back to James specifically, because he was always more of like, he craves a bit more sweeter things than me, even when we were kids. He's always been like the kid who wanted to eat a bit more. He likes to enjoy that cheat meal. They call it cheat meal on the weekend, stuff like that. So we thought, how can we create a few of the classic, cheat meal type foods like pizzas, burgers, and make them carnivore friendly? So we've done obviously a fair few recipes now. We've just updated the cookbook, and we've got like over 80 different carnivore recipes now. So it's a lot of variety in there. So we've got so much, and we've done ice creams, we've done pizzas, burgers, you name it. So I mean, the pizza is just insane. I mean, like, it's made with a chicken base, so it's crazy high in protein. But I mean, but people love it. I mean, like, it's great. So one-to-one coaching that I do, where I work with people, coaching calls, all that sort of stuff, and just educate people and help them like build a lifestyle. And I feel like a carnivore-based approach is the most sustainable way of doing things. When you actually see it, because like a lot of people don't see that. They just think you're doing a fad diet, it's not going to last. And it's like, no, because like people who come to carnivore have tried everything. They've tried everything else. They want to be able to go and do things. They want to have energy. They want to feel strong, all this sort of stuff, and live a long, happy life, a long, healthy life. So that's why they find carnivore. And when you help people, and then you see people who have reversed chronic diseases, who have lost life-changing weight, who have got in the best shape of their life, but I've also like cured their depression. They're not depressed anymore. They're not like, they don't feel these anxious thoughts. You're not anxious anymore. I mean, how many kids now, how many young people have, ADHD problems or depression, or all these things are creeping up and up and up. And it's like, when you come to this way of eating, it's just such an amazing way to change your life. That's why I truly believe in it. And that's why it's so good that we all met up at the conference on the weekend, because it's the message we want to spread. We want to promote this message. And that's one of the biggest things that I love, and I love to see, is people changing their lives. I've also got a community that I run as well for people. It's on the School, the app called School, which people can join, and we share. I share a lot of behind the scenes stuff of what I'm doing. I have like Q&As and calls, and people can share their own journeys on there. And we have like community giveaways, prizes, and all this sort of stuff. Like, so yeah, I mean, it's just a real good time to to be involved with the carnivore community.
Yeah, it's nice. It's certainly growing. I'm happy
Yeah.
to see, just more and more people catching on. It's a shame that some of our butchers don't know that they're selling real food. It's mad to me that.
Was it you as well that said that your butcher was saying, "Are you sure this is healthy?"
Yeah, one of them was like, "Oh, is this supposed to be healthy then?" Because I was talking about like health and diet and a
Yeah, yeah.
couple of visits before, and yeah, some of them have no idea. And these guys actually would get to take it home for a real reasonable price, obviously.
I know.
And many of them still don't, because that's how deep this level of brainwashing is, how it's affected certain people, that they're
That's
walking around
crazy.
actually feeling maybe even guilty. It wouldn't surprise me if some butchers feel guilty because they think, oh, I'm selling the thing that causes this disease, CVD, CH,
Mental.
coronary heart disease, and
'Cause
cancer
that's what
and
they've been
bowel problems.
told. That's what they've been
Exactly. It's just,
told.
yeah, yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, how
And I
people
bought it.
still go
You
on.
bought
Yeah,
it.
well, yeah, well,
Sounds
yeah,
like we all
yeah.
bought it.
We all kind of did, but I mean, there is no, absolutely. I just want to get this out there. There is no link at all to red meat causing chronic disease. Zero.
Yeah.
Like, and all the studies that have been used, and I know we've harped on, a lot of people have harped on about it before, but it's important to say. But a lot of these studies are, and as we learned, and a couple of the speakers covered at the conference, are epidemiological. Like, they're trash studies. They're just bought and paid for,
Mm.
and it does sound like, and I get it from like the random normal person out there who listens to the experts. And because a lot of people use these studies against red meat, they think, oh, well, look at this study. But if you actually delve into it, it's so inaccurate. And how they class red meat eaters. So
Yeah.
just, they class red meat eaters as someone like who would eat processed food, like they'd have a burger with that, chips, they would drink, they would even use associations like red meat eaters are more liable to do dangerous things. So they're more likely to drive fast cars or jump out of planes or, do dangerous things. So like, correlation does not equal causation. So you can't just make a simple correlation and think, well, that's the reason. It must be the red meat's fault.
I wonder
These
if
things.
that's a I wonder if it's a
Gone.
convenient side effect from these people as well. If you're talking about the business model, because the people that have bought the fact that red meat is unhealthy don't care about their health. That's why they're still eating it. Well, we
Exactly.
realize that, right? So you got these people. Then those people are taking more risks, and so it's that false association that you're talking about. It's
Yeah.
a very convenient side effect through the
Yeah.
system the way it is. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, people who are more likely to take risks, and I think risk taking is brilliant. I think it's great. It's vital for life. You don't want to be safe in life, but I think that people who are more likely to do dangerous things and take risks are probably going to rebel against like what they've been told. So, like, a lot of us are like that, but like we obviously are not in the spectrum of harming ourselves in terms of like we don't want to go out and drink and party, like in terms of, well, I don't anyway anymore. We want to optimize your health, but like we also don't believe in the nonsense and the crap that's being purported out there from mainstream businesses and mainstream media. It's not and I think, and I don't know about you, mate, but I feel there's been a huge shift in the past year in people's like opinions on health. I think we're in a conscious awakening in terms of people waking up to the bullshit that's been going on for a long time. I do believe that, and I believe that it's it's definitely taken a turn because I can feel it in like the air. I can feel a change happening within people, like, and you just see it and you notice it with people now. But now people are thinking, hold on, like there's so much alternative media and information now. People are now waking up. You see like-minded people who want to basically change the world. They want to look for other weirdos like me and you to think, oh right, well, because that's what I think it was Ben who said that. I said like, we are all weirdos. But I know Phil said it as well. It was like we are all weirdos, but it's like it's a good thing. Like, because the last thing I'd want to be is normal. That is the last thing I'd want to
In
be.
this context of modernity, yes, 100%.
Absolutely. It's
That's
the
what it is,
last
isn't it?
thing I would ever want to be is considered normal because, I don't want to be like that at all. I'd rather promote something I believe in and talk about something that's benefited me and thousands of others and continues to grow and help plenty more people. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I'm sure you're exactly the same.
100%. And it's strange because a lot of people don't see that. When I first saw you, the first thing I said was, I can't believe how much stick you get, right?
Yeah.
And usually, if I've got I don't know, a knitting channel, right? Usually people that like to knit, that's why they're watching a knitting channel. And so the top comments are usually positive. I don't know why it is that you, you sort of, all these crazy people, you seem to gravitate towards your media and stuff, but I
Yeah.
can see you're a genuine bloke, and I really enjoyed the conversation. You're a nice fella. You're genuine.
Yeah.
You're out for good. You're a good force in the world, and
Yeah.
it's crazy that these normal people don't see
Well,
it. They're missing a trick because there will come a day when they're probably going to consider it a little bit more seriously, right? They're going to go, well, look, I've done all these other things. I didn't do the thing that I thought was crazy and stupid. I did the opposite, and that hasn't worked for me. Like you said, they get to age 40, and all of a sudden they're taking a couple of meds and they're inflamed. They've got swollen ankles. They're tired. Joints going up and down the stairs. Sleep's out of whack.
mhm.
And there's you going out for a walk in nature, feeling fantastic, all the energy in the world, training, fit, look good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
it's madness, and people that they just don't see it. But that is the inertia, just so much like the Matrix, because we are living in this world where people are
Yeah.
being born into bondage, and they are
Totally.
slaves. They're nullified. They're narcosized, and they're just there to consume. And we are being sort of bred
Mhm.
like they were in the Matrix to kind of
I
help
mean,
fuel this system. You know,
that film was basically a documentary. It's probably one of my favorite, probably my favorite film. And if everyone hasn't watched The Matrix, go and watch it because it's awesome. And if you like, if you're really in tune with the mind and stuff and realities and external realities and and how actually the way they actually directed that film was brilliant. Like because it was like done in a way where like they were exposing what was actually going on, but like they didn't do it in like an obvious way. They did it with like talking about how the Matrix is everywhere. It's
mm,
it,
mm,
it, and who's to say that this is this is the real world? Who knows? This is the thing. This all could be a projection. I mean, this is the
yeah,
thing. So, I mean, going back to the point about the thing is the reason I don't know what it is in terms of like why because it's not just me who gets stick. It's also like other people in the space that I've seen who get stick. But I think the thing is I don't take like some of these people's opinions because like for me it's like the amount of people that I've connected with that are just like are great people. people who love what I do, who really respect what I do. Some just even connected with different athletes, and all these people who are just really well-to-do people, and people like yourself who have obviously got a path in life that they're going down and they're striving towards. Those are the people that I take the advice from, because they're winners in life. They're happy. I've never seen someone who trolls anybody who's a winner. I just haven't seen it, like, personally. Like, so that's why I take no matter what someone says. For me, I'd rather keep doing what I'm doing because I believe in it and helping people, because I do help tons of people. And the reason, and you get, say you get a lot of likes in a video, a lot of engagement, you get loads of people who you've helped, but then there might be, I don't know, like a few comments that are a bit derogatory. But it's like, for me, I'll take those all day long, because for one thing, it shows that it's more of a reflection on the person who's making the comment, because they have to sit behind a screen and a keyboard with a fake account or whatever and type that stuff. So that really tells me, I'm just thinking, wow, I feel sorry for them. I'm just like, wow, man, you're really, really that, sad that you have to sit there and do that, and like, don't have to, because that's the thing. I mean, everyone I've ever met in person has all been great. I mean, every single person I've met, and I've met quite a lot of people who've recognized me off online and stuff, and they're all brilliant. I mean, they're all that think it's amazing. People who've said, mate, it's changed my life. I love it. So you get a few, it comes with the territory, mate. I think that, if you do get negative comments, because it's usually from a place of just not understanding what's going on. I mean, these people are so uneducated. They're so hell bent on they're like in the Matrix. They're like, I call them like agents, because or they're like people who depend on the system. Like Morphe said in the film, he was like, people who depend on the system will fight to protect the system. So that's exactly what these internet trolls and these people are, because they depend on the system. So they have to fight to protect. So people like me and you, or other people like Sean Baker, prominent people in the space, Chafee, they see probably us as like evil people. They probably think, oh no, what are these people doing? They're trying to upset, they're trying to tell me I can't have my cereal and can't drink my beer and all this sort of stuff. And I'm thinking, well, we're actually not saying that. But what we are saying is, you might benefit, and it might help you and it might help you maybe get off the couch a little bit, and, leaving stupid comments. It might help you actually go and do something with your life, rather than, that, hey, listen, man, they're doing no harm for my algorithm. So, I mean, it's the more people that can see my stuff, and the more people that can watch it and benefit from it is, and your stuff. And because I think you're doing a fantastic job on YouTube as well. I think it's only helping us. Like, we're only growing because of people who don't know what it is. So even people who hate what we do and hate what we promote, they're still talking about it. If it didn't bother them, they wouldn't talk about it. So, like,
I think they're angry out of fear. They're angry out of fear of the idea that they may have been conned, or that they may be wrong. Because let me ask you one final question, apart from where we can find you.
Yep.
Have you ever, if we could search Cameron on the internet, would we ever find you somewhere on a vegan channel in the comments? In the same way, in reverse,
No.
would we find you? No, me too.
You absolutely would, and that's a great point. You know what? Because I think that I've never seen someone or again, it goes back to the people who are well-to-do and who are winning in life that I see. People who are content and who have got their own path, like have got their own focus in life. I've never seen someone who go into a comment section and troll, even if it's a vegan and it's someone who's like complete 180 of what I believe in. Like, they believe in all sorts, they believe in climate change, vegan, all this sort of stuff. I still wouldn't go on their page and go like, you're whatever, start effing and jeffing and calling them all sorts of names and personal insults. I still wouldn't do that.
Well, it's been really great talking to you, Cameron.
You
Appreciate
too,
you being so generous with your time. Finally, where can we find you? And I'll pop all your links below, including the cookbook, etc.
Yeah, so you can find me at Coach Carnivore Cam on everything, YouTube, obviously I'm bigger on Instagram and TikTok, but I will be getting some long form YouTube vids out soon. I'm growing my channel on YouTube. I've just been posting shorts on there, all the videos I do on Instagram and TikTok. But I mean, YouTube long form videos are definitely coming soon. But yeah, and podcasts like this, it's great to talk to you, mate, because I just want to say you've done a fantastic job with your own channel. Appreciate I think the information you provide, I think the talk you did on the weekend was superb. And I think the information you're providing and giving your first-hand experience, you're one of the first people that I always relate back to if people have any questions on, like, especially when it comes to digesting the food. I don't think there's anyone better out there to learn from you. So, I think you're doing a great job.
Appreciate that, mate. Nice one. Well, we'll talk behind the scenes anyway. So see you later, everyone. Thank you.
Top man. Cheers, mate.
Cool.
Cheers, guys.